Welcome back, everybody. I'm Michael Foley, and in this video, I'm going to teach you a strike that's going to be way more effective than a punch for self-defense. So the strike I'm talking about is the palm heel strike. It's not necessarily always going to be the better strike, but for 90% of the population, the people who are untrained, it's going to be way more effective than a punch. And the reason being is because most people who walk through my doors for a lesson, they don't know how to punch. So they punch improperly, they swing funny, hit with the wrong parts of their hand. They're constantly having to make little adjustments, and it takes months and months and sometimes years to even develop a good punch. So the problem with using a punch for self-defense, if you don't really know how to do it, is the cranium right here, this part of your head. It's a really hard object to hit, and if you're punching improperly with the wrong part of your fist, like hitting with these two knuckles or hitting with this part of your hand over here, or hitting with a bent wrist or a bend in your wrist like this, there's a good chance you're going to hurt yourself. But with a palm heel, there's really little risk that you're going to break your hand doing this strike. So there's just a couple of things to consider here. The primary part of the palm heel strike is going to be the part on this side, the outside part of your hand. You can hit a little bit here with the thumb side, but it's a little more isolated. It's just one bone down through here that connects to the top of your wrist. But on this side, you've got all the bones from your fingers all connecting down here at the bottom, and that's the part of your hand that you want to make the connection with. There are a couple of different variations of the palm heel strike, but your general targets are going to be either to the nose or to the jawbone right here. You've also got the eye socket, the ears, and right here behind the ear. A fun fact is they invented hand wraps and boxing gloves so boxers could punch each other more often without hurting their wrists. Because they were able to hit each other more often, it made the fights more exciting and more dynamic. If you take the hand wraps and the boxing gloves off, you run a risk of breaking your hands. So the palm heel strike eliminates most of those challenges. And the power of a palm heel strike was made super obvious by Bas Rutten and the Pancrase organization. It's an MMA organization, but you weren't allowed to throw punches. They didn't wear gloves, so open hand strikes were the preferred method of striking. Generally speaking, you don't want to throw palm heel strike just swinging with your hand, swinging wildly with your arm. You can generate some force. It is going to hurt. But if you throw it more like a punch where you rotate your body behind the strike and then make impact with the heel of your palm, it's going to be way more effective. So it does help to know how to punch, but you can still generate power just from a big arm swing and hit with the proper part of your hand in the proper target area. So let's look at two examples here. The first one is a straight palm heel. I'm going to use Bob again for this, and the target right here is going to be the nose. Now there's an old urban legend that if you hit somebody in the nose, the bone in their nose is going to drive into their brain, and I think it was in like a Van Damme movie or something like that in the 80s. It's not true. Your nose is made out of cartilage. There's an area of bone in the back of your sinus cavity. You're not going to put cartilage through that, so just never mind that nonsense. The strike itself looks like this if it's a self-defense situation, and we're in close range here. First thing I want to do is I want to put my hands up, and open hands are always a good option. Like, hey, look, I'm not interested in fighting. And then from here, it's easy for me to cover up if I need to, or throw open hand strikes. If you have to throw open hand strikes, if your attacker lunges at you, just keep in mind to drop your chin too. I don't want you to pull your head away and expose your jawline. You're going to drop your chin, bring your hands up to protect your head, and then from here, you can throw open hand strikes. Okay, so here I'm Bob. Bob's in my personal space. I want to get a step back and put my hands up and say, hey, I'm not looking for any trouble. But if trouble does come, I want to rotate my body, drive my palm straight in, and smash right through. The follow-up of this, I'm going to try to push all the way through and then bring my hand back because there might be retaliation. They might be throwing strikes too, but I also want to be in a position where I can continue to throw open hand strikes if necessary. And that's just like if I was in a boxing stance and I was throwing combinations. I don't just want to throw a punch and drop it out of the way, leaving myself open and very hard for me to come back with more punches. I want to keep my guard up and throw multiple punches in a row. So hands up, I want to be able to throw multiple open hand strikes in a row. So the first one, the easy one, is the straight palm heel. The next one, I'm going to aim for the jaw or the ear right here. And this one comes in more on an angle like this. So it's kind of like an uppercut, kind of like a hook, but I'm going to use the blade of my hand right here on his jaw, and I'm going to punch all the way through. So open hands here, blast all the way through, bring my hands back to protect. Okay, let's put together a little scenario you can train on the bag. Somebody you feel is threatening you, hands up, Get your forearms to the front of your body, elbows in front, hands up. Be prepared to drop your chin and bring your guard up. If the attack comes or if they rush you, it's an open hand straight strike, and then you can throw one to the side of the jaw right here, another one to the side of the jaw, and that should be enough to stun them, and then you can take off and go the other way. Don't forget, this is for self-defense purposes only. If you have the opportunity to get out of there, that's your best line of defense. Mind your surroundings. If you can, escape. But if you can't, you should know how to fight. You should know how to cover up and keep yourself safe. Throw some effective strikes and give you enough time to get out of there. Thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I'm Michael Foley, and I'll see you on the mats.